Off-roading in BeamNG is absolutely incredible. Even though the game wasn't designed for it, it feels as though the game was developed for off-roading purposes. And many people would say that it's because BeamNG was built from the ground up as a vehicle simulator, but something about it feels very good in the dirt. It's almost as if you can feel the chassis around you flexing, and you can feel the tires beneath you biting into the ground. The way that your vehicle reacts to the environment makes this game feel like it's a pre-rendering of a simulation. The developers of BeamNG.drive have done an incredible job with this game, and off-roading is something that I definitely believe that you should give a try, because the game excels at many disciplines and this is definitely one of them. So welcome to Talks with Noise, and today I'm going to be telling you how off-roading is slept on in BeamNG. Firstly, BeamNG is able to simulate material properties similar to what we'd see in real life, meaning they have a certain amount of strength, stiffness, and dampening. Before, I had said that it feels like the chassis of the vehicles flex around you, because in BeamNG, the vehicles truly do bend and change shape. And as long as you don't push the vehicles too far, they'll be able to return back to their normal conditions. It's very similar to pulling and tugging on a spring, because if you pull that spring too far, of course it's not going to return back to its normal state. But what does any of this have to do with off-roading? Well, besides being realistic, it also adds a factor of risk. And it's risky because you can physically break something or virtually break something in BeamNG. If you take on a rock or even a small mountain too quickly, you can permanently deform a tie rod and cause your vehicle to go out of alignment. Or bend a rim, which with a sim racing wheel absolutely sucks because BeamNG simulates all of the forces going throughout the wheels, all the way up through the steering column and then to your hands on your physical controller. So you could essentially jack up your vehicle so badly that you'll be fighting bent wheels along with bad alignment. You can break almost anything on your vehicle, which is what makes rugged terrain so much better. Especially if one of your main goals is trying to keep your vehicle in one solid piece. But the vehicle isn't the only thing that deforms, you also have tire deformation. Currently you can see tires deform around objects, and as they wrap around these objects they create more surface contact, which in return creates more grip. You can also deflate tires to increase traction at the risk of inducing more rolling resistance, but that typically doesn't matter too much with off-roading. But it's cool because all of this is going to affect how you're going to drive in BeamNG. You can also tune the suspension of your vehicle, such as the ride height, the stiffness of your springs, or even the amount of energy your shocks can absorb. And of course the tires will affect these factors as well, and that's not something that the average person is going to expect from this game. And I don't believe that many people know that BeamNG offers many different types of differential options and also accurately simulates them. But instead of me just sitting here and explaining, let me go ahead and show you how much fun off-roading can be on one of BeamNG's most unforgiving maps called Jungle Rock Island. I will be using a rear-wheel drive open differential vehicle just to make this fun. Originally it was meant to be a track project, but I slightly modified it and now it's called the Gambler BX. So as we start off here at the bottom of the hill and try to make our way towards the top, you should get a point of view from my perspective here in the driver's seat, as well as an external camera that I'll try to provide so you can see what's going on around us. But as of this first person's perspective, it feels like we're getting thrown around on the inside of our seat, as if we're sloshing around on the inside of the cabin, as well as the vehicle moving around us, which is a feature the developers had added in 0.28, and it's something that not everybody likes because it makes some people motion sick, but I absolutely love it because it's far more immersive, and it's one step closer to VR. I'm going to be careful here because the Gambler BX does not exactly make friends with rocks with its low ground clearance, and this vehicle definitely isn't optimal for this situation, but that is why I chose it. It's a challenge, and if I can get along this trail a decent ways, it'll feel far more rewarding than if I were to drive a vehicle that could easily just meander along these trails. I say depending on how far because, abominations like that are going to try and puncture our oil pan, and here in BeamNG, if you puncture an oil pan, that'll lead to oil starvation, and your engine will die out, which is really cool. But no, the Gambler BX is also one of my favorite vehicles to drive here, because it's something that I can connect with. It's a vehicle that I could see myself driving in real life, because one, it wouldn't break the bank account, and two, I've always wanted to have a rear-wheel drive vehicle that's manual. I've never had a manual vehicle to begin with actually, so this is a vehicle that I would really love to have and drive every day. So if you find yourself having a disconnect with BeamNG's preset vehicles or even the customized vehicles, then I recommend thinking about what you would drive on a daily basis, something that you could see yourself driving to work, and try to make a vehicle like that in BeamNG, or even a weekend. I would be checking that. maybe even a weekend fun toy that you would drive. Just something that you can connect with in Beam. So back to the topic of off-roading though. If you drive in BeamNG or Beam multiplayer, you likely go on road trips with other players, and doing some off-road sections is certainly something that you have to incorporate in your trips, because it changes up the pace some, and it definitely changes up the driving style as we float through the mud here and have the backside of our vehicle peel out, which is mandatory because we have this open differential, but it's something that's fun to do with other players because you can go on road trips. Even at night is a fun thing to do where you have to have your headlights to see. Oh, we're getting stuck here. But can I pull a miracle? Can I use the throttle to give us some momentum to get to the end of this mud pit? We're almost there, but I think we're going to get stuck. Ooh, I almost stalled out there. Yes, and we're stuck in place. Developers, we need a winch. That would be perfect. But at least you got a showcase for what BeamNG off-roading can be. And it can be so much more fun than this because BeamNG is a sandbox style game, and therefore the limitations are your imagination. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, and also a massive shout out to my very first channel members. I never would have imagined, so thank you guys so much. You can join them if you'd like to down in this video's description, but if not, then subscribing is more than enough. I've been trying to stick to Friday BeamNG videos, so hopefully see you next week, and until then, bye bye.